This is the magicwordpodcast.com.
Hello, this is Scott Wells for the magicwordpodcast.com. And this week we are going to be speaking with Michael Campion, who lives out in Los Angeles. He had a long-running show online called Fuller House, in which he played a part named Jackson. Anyhow, he has had a long interest in magic and was part of the Magic Castle Juniors. And this week we're going to talk with him a little bit about that. But because he's on here this week is because he's got a show that's going to be of interest to you during this Halloween season. And since it is the month of Boo and we're getting into the Halloween season, I thought it was important to kind of learn a little bit about his interest, not only in magic, but particularly in all things scary. Why is it that he decided to do a show that has a haunted theme or a scary theme, particularly since he's been doing things for a family for a long time with the Fuller House and other kinds of things that he's doing in Hollywood as a young actor. He's now 22. Again, it was about 6 years ago when we last spoke, when he was 16. And so it was a different time of his life. So it's interesting to kind of get caught up with what he's doing then now. And so I know you're going to enjoy this nice little chat we have with my guests here this week. Please welcome Mr. Michael Campion here on The Magic Word. We are revisiting with someone here today who was on back in, late 2018, and he was young then. He's a little bit older now, but still a young man, and has been creating a lot of waves with magic and also doing things online with when he was working with Fuller House, which he was, the character was called Jackson, ran for 5 seasons. And then, during COVID, a lot of things happened, I guess, kind of things got into lockdown and some opportunities got lost or whatever about that time. But he carried on with his interest and passion in magic and plus other projects that he's got working then as well. And I thought there's just so much going on that it would warrant a revisit, and in particular right now during the Halloween season, because of which is why I'm wearing my Halloween attire, I guess, over here, because we're going to be having a short talk then as well about what he's been doing as far as some spooky magic that's coming up. So please welcome my friend right now, someone we haven't chatted with for a while, Michael Campion. Hey there, Michael. How are you, sir?
I'm good, Scott. How about yourself?
I'm doing fantastic. So good to see you again. Yeah, you've gotten facial hair and your hair's gotten longer. Since you were so 16.
Yeah, I know. That's the first thing everyone points out. I haven't seen me in a while. It's like, what the heck is this? What's that in your voice? Oh my God. Yeah.
Is this like a branding thing, or is it something you're working for a new movie as far as your hirsute here?
You know what's funny? I was working at this restaurant and they had this like weird, mysterious vibe. And I'm like, I'm gonna grow a mustache and a goatee. I feel like it fits. And then I was like, I'm doing the spooky magic thing. I'm gonna keep it. So now I have it.
It does make you look certainly older. I mean, you're over 21 here now to begin with, and so you're 22, as I recall. Is that right?
I'm 22 now. Yeah.
Yeah, and so with that, yeah, you do seem to have. I think it gives you a little bit more worldly look and more mature and grown, like you've had some years of experience.
Thank you. So, I like it. I like it a lot.
Yeah, and so I like the way that it's trimmed there too. So. Going back, first of all, the last time we talked was again back in 2018, and you were just getting ready to go into, I think, to the 5th season of taping for Fuller House.
Yeah, that's right.
And during that time, that it was unknown that was going to be the last season, or that we were soon going to be going into lockdown. Kind of walk me through what happened about that time.
It was really wild because right after Fuller House had ended, I immediately had another project. I was going on to do this musical, and I finished the whole musical, and then a couple months later it ended. So I had projects in the pipeline, and it was, for a lot of people it was really terrible. I mean, for me it was lots of ups and downs. Obviously, luckily my show came out in the middle of 2020, so that was that was very good for us. But and I'm glad people had something to watch. All the fans had something to watch in the middle of the pandemic. But
yeah, because we're all locked down, and we're all just tuned in to watching anything online, and we got a full series there. How many episodes did you do for that season?
I think there was 18 episodes.
Wow. Okay.
One. Yeah. So
that's right. So go ahead.
Yeah. Yes. You said it right. Everyone was locked down, and they pretty much had Fuller House, and that was great. I mean, that part was great, but everything else not great.
Yeah, so we had a family we can kind of relate to, and it's kind of like, oh, I remember those days. It just seemed like so far away, and not knowing what was happening, around that time.
Yeah, for a
So,
lot of people, it was like a comfort show for sure.
yeah. And so the other projects, obviously, like with everybody else, all the opportunities just quickly dried up. How long was the musical, and what was the musical called?
The musical was put on by this company called the Lithgow Family, and they do these what's called pantos, and they're like this British
Pantomimes.
comedy. Yeah, okay, okay, yeah, you know what's going on. And so I was doing a variation of Snow White. It was during Christmas time, so they call it a Snow White Christmas. I played the prince in it, and yeah, but you're right. Right after that, everything evaporated, and the crazy thing is that right after the pandemic was coming to an end, I went to school for a couple of years for an acting school, and then right after I graduated that, I was like, all right, we're gonna hit the ground running, and then the writer's strike and an actor strike happened. So it was like pandemic. I went to school for a little bit, writer's strike, actor strike, and then now it's like, oh my god, it's been so long, and I'm like, I would like to obviously get another series or something. That'd be awesome.
Yeah. One thing after another. It seems like it kind of hit boom, boom, boom. And it
Yeah,
seems like the directors were on strike for even a short time during that period.
yeah,
Didn't they join that too? And then they
yeah,
got settled, and the rest did shortly thereafter. Yeah, I remember it was not a really good time for anybody. It seems like back out in that time.
yeah.
Well, talk about the pantomime that you were doing then in the Snow White. I recall also you were talking before about your father doing Santa Claus. And so
Oh, it was actually my that's my
grandfather,
uncle.
uncle
It's my uncle. Yeah.
down in Florida.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so my aunt and uncle, they're Santa and Mrs. Claus for Disney during the Halloween. Sorry, not Halloween. The holiday season.
And are they still doing that?
They are, yeah. And so they actually used to be clowns, and now they transition to this. So very lots of performers in my family.
It sounds like that. And
Yeah,
so, as I recall, also when we were talking before, had moved from Florida to LA, and your mother was with you, and your dad had some businesses he was working on and coming back and visiting with you. Is he still commuting, or has sold some businesses, or what's the status family wise?
yeah. So right now I'm out here with my two best friends, and so we moved in together. We were from Florida, and so it's just us. But
In
my
LA.
mom, yeah. I'm in LA. My mom and dad still back home doing their thing. Couldn't be happier for them, because it was a weird thing, It's like when my mom's out here trying to support me, she's not with my dad, and then it's really hard for them. It was really hard for them, especially trying to make it work. I mean, it's a lot of money to come out here, and so it was tough. It was tough for them, and I'm just happy that they're like together and they get to spend their time together, and they sacrifice so much for me.
That's great to have such great parents like that who will do that for you and
Yeah,
sacrifice, as you say. And so now you are rooming with some other actors, I assume, or what are these other
that's
guys?
right.
Mhm.
Yeah. My two other friends, Lewis and Justin, they both actors. We all grew up together, and now we're out here supporting each other.
So Justin's last name is not Timberlake, is it?
No, that'd be really crazy.
I was going to say, you can live in his house. He's probably got an east wing that's open.
He's not using that anymore. Yeah.
So if again, that kind of closed as far as what the musical was, you're working on and some other projects. What's kind of in the pipeline right now that you've been working on?
Yeah. So since everything shut down, and that like weird period, it's been giving me a ton of opportunities, the silver lining, to do magic. So I've been really active in the magic community and gigs and all of that. So I this Halloween season, I was like, you know what? I really want to come up with a Halloween themed show. And so I went to work this summer and I crafted a 45-minute close up Halloween show. I pitched it around, and there's a place here in LA called Beetle House. And it's this Tim Burton themed restaurant. And they have lots of cool roaming characters. It's always Halloween themed there. And now I have every Saturday doing my close up magic show. And if you guys want to come by, go get tickets on Ticketmaster. Type in Michael Campion. My haunted mystery show of magic will come up, and it's every Saturday and then every other Friday in October.
Well, I do want to spend some time talking about that. Certainly, were you also doing some close-up magic there at the restaurant as well, or is it just going to be a one-man show only?
Yeah, so it's a one man show for me, and that's on Saturdays. But on Fridays, I actually have a couple other acts coming in, and it's a 21 plus event. So there's like a fire dancer. We're thinking about getting either a hypnotist or a jazz singer in. So it'll be more like a cabaret
What kind of
type
food do
deal.
they serve? Is it kind of American cuisine?
Yeah, American cuisine, and but it's all really fun, like Halloween themed food. Very stylized. All the drinks have like dry ice in them. You should definitely check it out. It's cool.
That sounds fun. Were you working at other restaurants prior to that
I
or doing
was,
anything?
yes, yeah. So actually, I started going into it very seriously with some restaurants. I worked for 3 restaurants. Now it's dwindled to 2, just because this show I have going on here. And yeah, so I worked in restaurants for a while. I also work at a place called the Magic Castle out here in LA. Are you in LA? I'm just curious.
No, I'm in
Curious.
Austin, Texas area right now, but I
You're in Austin,
I, I
Texas.
was just in the last time I was out there was in May, in which I received this special fellowship award
Oh,
for
yeah, that's right. Of course.
yeah.
Yeah.
So yes.
Okay, well, of course. Hello, duh. We're on the Magic Word podcast. I cannot see. I don't know. I don't know. Sometimes people they're not in with it. Okay, great. That's awesome.
So yes, I kind of got sidetracked there, but I know that you were working. In fact, that was one of the things I want to talk with you about how that you've been working with the junior program, and then had evolved into the adult program, and of course now I guess is a full-fledged over 21 member.
Why did I just not think that you were involved in Magic Castle? That's crazy. Okay, yes, absolutely. Junior program. Okay, so I'm 22 now, and I've graduated. I graduated last year, but I got in when I was 16. And it's how hard it is to get into the junior program. It's they're very strict about that.
Tell me about that
Uh,
for just a minute. I wanted to discuss that because I remember that Diana Zimmerman is still involved to a degree on that, and there are others as well. What is the process if someone wants to join the juniors? I mean, you just don't sign up and show up. It actually is a vetting process, isn't it?
yeah, there's a vetting process. So there's auditions twice a year. There's one in October and one in I think April. And
Oh,
uh, the so you do send out an application to see if you're even eligible for it. How old are you? Are we at the max limit of people who can audition for this time? And then they go to what we call the audition boot camp, where I was an elder of the junior program. So that means that I was like one of the captains, and along with a couple other members who were appointed by the juniors. We all put in a vote. And so these guys, it was like a pre-audition almost, and they
hmm.
would come in with their material and they would work on stuff with us. And if we thought that they were good enough, they would keep working with us until the audition day. So actually, they had a lot of time to work on their act. And you can still do like the traditional, just going and auditioning if we think that you're good. But it's basically us who vets them. Or I used to do that. It's now a couple other people. But yeah, we would talk with them on Zoom, see how serious they were, see if there was potential, talk to the directors, and then go from there, pretty much. And then once you're in the audition, it's 5 minutes strictly. You can't go over. They could say 501, 50 done. That's like the little saying.
Hmm.
And we have a whole committee, and basically we all vote on whether we think that certain people should come in or not. And I think maybe it's about 10% of the kids, like who come in actually get in. It's been pretty strict recently.
And so when you say 10%, approximately how many members are there in a given year, I guess, as these students or youth move on? I mean, like 12, are you talking 20 or 200? I mean, what's a
You
kind of a
mean
magnitude?
the? I think that there's 150 junior members.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think right now there's 150, and then there's about like 20 or 30 who actually end up auditioning.
Hmm.
During the like pandemic and all that, it was way lower. It was 12, I think, and then maybe like two kids got
They were
in.
just auditioning online, I guess.
Yeah, auditioning online. So we've actually opened up to non-resident members, junior members. So now they phone in via Zoom to come to the meetings and all of that, which is very cool.
Have you thought about getting involved with the juniors? as being an instructor or coming back and helping in any degree?
I certainly have. I still go to meetings occasionally. I am still doing brunches whenever they need me to. So I'm very involved. Like, I mean, I don't know, Oliver, go away. Sorry, it's my cat here. um, uh, yeah, I'm still very involved with the juniors. You know, I keep up with the elders, and I make sure if they need any help with anything, if they need a fill in, that I'll be there. But in terms of like instructing, I think that I want to give the other members an opportunity to, you know, get teaching experience or to really up their game. But I'll definitely be there, like as an alumni. You know, once a junior, always a junior. That's how I feel about it.
That's what I thought. You probably want to go back and give back when you can. I'm sure that others would like to see what has somebody who is a graduate accomplished and where are they going with their career. So you can talk
That's right.
about that. So yeah, I think that would be fascinating to have, if I was a young person, to have someone like you and others who have graduated to come back and talk about that experience.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And you know, the other thing is that we give each other opportunities all the time. Like, uh,
Mm.
I I ask them to fill in for my restaurant all the time. It's called the Black Rabbit Rose. There's also another place called Level 8, and yeah, I'll ask them all the time, like, hey, you like, do you want to try out doing, like, do you want to get experience doing restaurant magic? And they're like, yeah, absolutely. So
I
I'm really
recall
happy to pass it on.
at the at the Magic Live convention this year, they had a Magic Castle Juniors program in which they had 4 or 5 different people, and I believe it was a Taylor Hughes who had emceed the show, and it was fantastic. I mean, the quality of the magicians who are coming out of that and through that junior program are just phenomenal. I mean, they were, I
Totally.
think, FISM quality and ready to go. You know.
Absolutely, absolutely. We've had some spectacular magicians over the years, and I mean, I remember there's an alumni, his name is Blaze Sarah. He just won
I love
the
Blaze.
close-up.
Yep.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah. You know, see, all right, you're connected. Great. I don't know how connected you are here, Scott. I gotta know.
Just figure I know everybody.
Okay, great. You know everyone. So yeah, Blaze. We actually did a Peller show not too long ago.
Mhm.
Last year during Future
For the two of you,
Stars.
oh, that'd have been a great show. You and Blaze. Wow, I would look
Yeah,
forward to
yeah,
seeing that.
yeah. It was me and Blaze during Future Stars, and he just won part of FISM, I think.
Yep, he's
He
going to
just
be.
won.
He's got a slot to FISM. Yep. Mhm.
That's great. Good for him.
Okay, so now we got Blaze showing us absolutely something amazing.
All right, hopefully. All right. Well, actually, this will be you showing me something that's hopefully amazing. All right. So while I'm mixing, can you just get a card in mind?
Yes.
Would you say you have pretty good intuition? Like if you get a vibe about something, you trust it?
Yes.
Okay, then I'll trust you. If you were to guess what card was on top of the deck right now, what would you guess?
I would guess the 8 of diamonds.
The 8 of diamonds,
Yeah.
not the ace of diamonds.
The 8. 8.
Okay. 8 of
Correct.
diamonds. That feels right to you. We didn't set this up before the video. That's
Nope, we did not.
just fella.
Nope.
Just a guess.
Completely guess, random.
I'll trust you.
Yep.
Diamonds,
Yep.
You good guess. It's a good guess. Just a guess. Just a lucky guess. All right. Maybe they're all 8 of diamonds. Oh, no way. Okay. Now here we have a joker. This is like a wild card. For us, this will be a real wild card. Okay. Not a screen, regular piece of paper. You can check it out. What I'd like you to do, this is a little bit weird. Imagine you're looking through this joker and seeing any one of these cards. Which one do you imagine it turning into? Which one would you?
Steve? 7 of clubs.
The 7 of clubs. Okay, so right now in your mind, you're imagining 7 clubs across the face, 2 sevens in either corner, right? Can you hold out your hand? Just one finger. And can you just touch the joker right there? And while you're touching it, can you just imagine that the wild card is starting to fade away? And now imagine, you said 7 of clubs. Okay, imagine 7 clubs starting to fade in until they're touching your fingertip. You see it in your mind?
Yeah.
Maybe it's tough.
Wow.
It's still a wild card. It just looks like a 7 of clubs right now. But we could really make it look like anything else. So if you could change it right now, I'll show the exposed view face up. If you could change it right now, what would you change it to?
Jamie, what would you change that to?
I would change the 9 of diamonds.
The 9 of diamonds. Okay, so this time it would be 9 diamonds across face. It's gonna happen in 3 seconds. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Diamond. So much.
That is awesome. Yeah, he's someone I've had on my radar for a long time, and I knew he was going, and I'm so happy whenever that he had made it through, and I wasn't surprised, certainly. I mean, there was some good talent there this year. Magic Texas for the FISM and North American Championships of Magic. It was a great convention, and saw a lot of good talent, and it was obvious that he was going to be going, I think, from there. So as you transitioned, then, as I recall talking with you before, several years ago, 6 years ago, you were talking about how there was kind of a bummer you couldn't go except to the castle, except like on the afternoons or during luncheons, I guess on Saturday or Sunday. Now that you've become more of a full member, is it a different world for you? And what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, definitely a different world. I don't go as frequently as I probably should, but I do get a lot of people into the Magic Castle now, and I can hang out with them. I can hang out with my friends. And the best part is I can go to the library whenever I want. I wasn't able to do that before. And honestly, I really need to utilize the like impromptu tables more, just to sign up and go in and test out some stuff. But I do frequent it, bringing people in, not so much going just myself. But it's so much better, so much easier, and I feel like I have best of both worlds because I still do brushes and I can go in, whenever I want. It's awesome.
Just as a member to watch other things and other people. Right.
That's right. Yeah.
Right. So moving from the Magic Castle and talking about some of the restaurants you were talking about doing, I recall also years ago when we spoke that you like close up and cards as well as like a ring on rope routine and things you were doing that seem to be close up types of things. Have you continued to work in that area in particular, or like the show you're going to be doing here that we're going to talk about in a moment? It seems to be more kind of one person stand up for a larger group of people. Or in other words, do you feel you're more suited for the close up gallery or for the parlor or stage?
Right. That's an interesting. Yeah, that's interesting. My show definitely feels more like a parlor show. I would say that this could work really well, and I made it for a very close up, intimate group. But just the way that the venue is, it is more of a stand up thing. But I made this in in my garage for like 12 people, and that seems to play the best because there's a seance at the end of it, and it gets very like intimate and dark, like all the lights go off. And I feel like the more people you end up adding in this particular show can actually serve to hurt it a little bit. That's why I've had to change things around for this actual venue. Not to say that it's worse. Actually, I've found things that play better for larger audiences. It feels like two different versions of the show. And have I been working? Your question was, have I been working on close-up stuff, or like, do you feel like I'm more suited for one particular style?
I was asking if you were continuing like with close-up. In other words, why when we also talked, you had just gotten back from Magic Live, and you were talking about some of the tricks that you had purchased, which seemed to be more suited towards close-up.
That's right. So, yeah, I definitely worked on my strolling and close up. Like I have that bulletproof down. I think now I've been trying to build out a little bit bigger shows, parlor style shows. So not only can I get more, corporate gigs like on stage, but also have stuff like this where I can, I'm really looking to have a place where I can do a show for myself. I think that Vegas style is definitely what I want to do one day. My absolute dream scenario is to have 6 Impossible Things. Like that would be
Like Joshua J.
Yeah, by Joshua J. That would be the most incredible show ever. If I could have that style show where it feels intimate, but there's a lot of people and like everyone gets involved. It's not necessarily close up. It's like this weird in between. I like that odd in between. That's cool to me.
It's interesting you bring up Joshua's show. There's a difference between that one and Derek Delgadio's show that he had as a one-man show. Those are two different. You would see yourself doing more of towards Joshua than you would towards Derek?
Absolutely. I think that having an interesting space and really the personal touch, the intimacy is my favorite part of Magic. That's why I like doing strolling and close up so much. And then once you have a show, you have to expect to sell out a certain amount of tickets for it to be profitable for whatever venue. So my pitch perfect way is having like 30 people. We are in a fun themed room, and we just do really great, either some half close-up effects, half parlor effects standing up, but that sweet spot for sure.
Yeah, I like that too. It seems like it could be much more intimate. Again, talking about Magic Texas, where I just had attended, there were two people performing a mind-to-mind, two-person mind reading routine. And typically, when you see this done, it's in a theater where there are many more people. And like with the Evasons or the clairvoyants, and the one is blindfolded and one's walking out in the audience. In this particular case, what they did was limited it to just 30 people. And they did like 6 different presentations. So that way everybody got a very close up and intimate appreciation of what was going on. When you're in an audience of 1,000 or whatever, or several hundred, you're holding up some lipstick or a phone or something, and they may or may not come around to get you. However, in a smaller room of 30, they can get around to absolutely everybody. So it feels much more intimate when you can interact with the performer. So I understand exactly what you're saying, that by having this performance for such a smaller group, you can make the magic more real to them on a personal and intimate basis.
Totally, yeah. I mean, I remember doing bigger shows at the Palace, and then afterwards going out, and they're like, "Wow, that was such a great show. And, like, do you have any more?" And then I'll do close up for them. I'll just do like an ambitious card, and they'll be like, "That was cool, but that was the coolest thing I've ever seen." And there's just something about it being personal that you can't beat. Personal magic is the strongest for sure.
Yeah, when it's right before their eyes, under their nose, and in their hands, the way I like to say it, it actually personalizes for them and makes it more, number one, believable, and also number two, more memorable, that they can
Right.
take away
Totally.
from that. In developing the show that you have then right now, getting into the spookiness, I guess, of it, since we're getting into October and the month of Boo, and doing these kinds of things. How did you decide that you wanted to do something scary? I assume this is something that there are several people who are going over. I just saw Carissa Hendricks going to be working at what is it? Not Scary Farm. They've changed that a little bit, and
Yeah.
they do that every year as well. And they have some other things that happen. So, had you thought about that? Let me back up to my original question. Why did you decide to get into something that was going to be more macabre, scary, bizarre, mentalist kind of seancey type of stuff?
Yeah. So I'm a huge fan of haunted attractions. I like, even when I was really young, my mom, who designed costumes and everything, like we had the most elaborate Halloween parties. We had really great, like immersive experiences. She worked for Disney. I grew up in Orlando, so we would always go to their like Halloween party, and she showed me all the fun movies when I was young, and it just got really ingrained in me when I was a kid. And then, later on when I got older, I did all the spooky stuff, like, Not Scary Farm and Halloween Horror Nights, and these haunts. I actually work for a haunt too.
Did
There's
you?
a place. There's a place out here called the LA Haunted Hayride,
Uh-huh.
and I am one of the scare actors there. It's a lot of fun. So I had I was such a big fan of these people who were doing spooky things, but I never thought that they got the pitch right with like like an actual spooky haunted, like it's Halloween themed. It's not just like a spooky show. It's like a Halloween themed show. There's Halloween stuff going on, and I was like, as an audience member, I've always wanted to see something like that, and I've never seen it out there in the world. I've seen some stuff, but I haven't seen it full on, and so it just came to me. I sat down at my computer for 3 hours, and just the whole show came all at once. I was like, this is
Hmm.
it. Here's what I've always wanted to do. Bang, bang, bang. Obviously, I've had to change things around and iron things out, but it just really comes from my love of horror and spooky magic haunted things.
Have you attended seances? I know Michael Rangel, for an example, does the seance at the Queen Mary in Long Beach. Have you gone to see that, or other kinds of things? I think Christian Cagigal also does some spooky related types of shows. And so have you seen other people show to be inspired by them, or is this something all just from your mind that you created?
So I have actually not attended a legitimate seance. Well, not necessarily legitimate seance, but a seance theater. I have not done that. I really, really wanted to go to the Houdini seance at the Magic Castle. I'm so bummed I didn't get a chance to go. But before this, I did a ton of research as to what that actually entails. There are so many books on bizarre magic in the Magic Castle's library, and I picked through all of those, and a lot of them of how to actually make a seance come to life. I watched Darren Brown's special. Oh gosh, I can't remember. I think it was actually called Seance. If I
Think
if I
you're right.
remember, yeah, his thing called Seance, and he does all types of, like the slate boards and the spirit cabinet and the like glass moving. I don't know what that's called necessarily. And then at the end, he ends it with a seance. And so, seeing all of that, compiling all my research together, I was able to make something that feels very believable, but also it actually has a magic trick in it. It's not just like we're summoning a ghost, spooky things happen.
Do you present yourself as a magician, as a ghost hunter, or as a medium? Or when you're performing this, what do you expect the audience to see you as?
Yeah, throughout the whole show, I am none of those things. I don't ever present myself to be, you know, a spiritualist person. I'm just a guy doing magic. And then at the end, I say that there's a spirit here in this building. He was a magician, and he helps me out with magic. And we're gonna summon him essentially. I will be the medium for this to get him to come here. And so we summon him, and then he helps us do magic. So that's the premise of it. And at the end, there's a actually,
Don't
no,
tell
you just
me.
have to come see the show.
Nope.
Yeah, no,
Yep.
no, 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 no. I won't. I won't say. I was just about to say a spoiler. I'm not going to do that.
No, even if you told me, I would have edited that out. I think
Okay, good.
people people should go and see it. It's the same thing
Yes,
like with our seances that I have done. That I wouldn't tell the end because it would spoil it for them.
of
And
course, of
yeah,
course.
but
Yeah.
there are a lot of different magic tricks in our pocket, I guess. There are things that you can buy, books you can buy, just as you said, like the castle has available that you can dip into certainly to learn how to do a proper seance, or for that matter, do other kinds of spooky magic. But I think it's important that you do identify yourself, or um, let your audience know what it is that they're going to be expecting. Specifically, if they think perhaps that you are, as a medium, you are summoning this the spirit or whoever that the magic's going to be working through you, they might think, oh, he's able to reach out to the dead. So I wonder if you can afterwards he'll come to you and say, can you reach out to my uncle or to somebody? So I think it's important that you kind of let them know that, hey, we're just going to let this go and as wherever it goes and see what happens. And I'm just kind of as curious as you are. And we're just going to be in this for a ride, and also not try to make this too uncomfortable, meaning that if you're doing like a living dead test type of a thing, that you're not going to say, I want you to think of someone who is near to you who had recently passed, because then it's going to become much, much more emotional. And you don't want people breaking down and crying whenever that you reveal their name or whatever it is. So if you say something to the effect that this is, if I want you to think of someone perhaps who who may have passed, but is not necessarily that close to you. It may have been a great uncle or someone like that, so that, or you know what I'm saying? So I'm just giving you a
Yeah.
little bit of advice if you haven't really kind of started looking into that.
Oh yeah, yeah. Absolutely. I've I haven't yet had someone come after the show and say, "Wow, like, can you really, summon spirits?" I do present it as, hey, like there's this thing here. Let's all see what it's about. I never go, I can channel the spirits. I am a medium. And I think that's really important. In fact, actually the trick right before is a tarot effect. And so I talk about how they actually con you in terms of doing tarot. And so I think people get the sense that I don't really they get my position on it right
Mhm.
away, that I'm a magician and that this stuff there's a weird in between, like Twilight Zone line where is it real, is it not real? And I don't think people ever see me as the stance of I can do 100% summon spirits. So thankfully, I've never presented it that way.
So you don't have actually a stated disclaimer, if you will, saying I cannot help you afterwards to talk to your living or your dead
I
relatives?
don't, but I should though. I should. That's just a good idea to cover my bases. But I think through osmosis, they understand that I'm doing magic, and I say that I don't believe in this. So no one's come up to me, thankfully, but it, that doesn't mean that they won't. So I should probably state that.
Yeah, as you start to get into this, that will be something that you can always have that as a proviso, saying, "Well, remember earlier I had said such and such that I can't do this." I recall the first time I went to the Magic Castle, and this would have been back in like 1981 or something, and Glenn and Francis Falkenstein were performing, and they were doing um, their act, which they're reaching out and to the spirits and everything, and then Glenn had done his Iron Mask routine in which he was reading thoughts of people. And I remember afterwards him standing over to the edge of the stage and people were walking, they were lined up and asking questions. Who's going to win the Super Bowl? Am I going to get this next job? What's going to be happening to my son's health, et cetera, et cetera. And he was answering all these questions in a nice form. But the point is he had left himself open to answering those questions, which I think is just the opposite. You should be shutting that down before it even begins.
Absolutely. Totally on the same page. If anyone thinks that this is anything beyond theater, I get really uncomfy.
I have not been to the Houdini seance that Rob Zabrecki hosts. He is the current host. Is that right? In the
He's the
seance
current
room?
host, yeah.
Yeah. I would assume he must give some sort of a disclaimer then as well of saying this is for entertainment purposes, but I don't know.
I feel like he's got to, yeah, because I actually bought the vinyl. That's it's called Seance, and it's where he like guides you through a seance, and he does say something just like that.
Mhm.
I don't know if you know about that. Did you see his thing that he put out where he's
I didn't see that. I mean, I've seen some of his YouTube videos. Matter
yeah
of fact, I've seen all those, which are fantastic with Jack
yeah
Black and
yeah
all those other people. Very funny.
yeah very funny.
But is that what you're talking about?
That's what I'm talking about.
Yes,
Yeah
yes. I
yeah
have.
yeah yeah
That's very
yeah
funny.
yeah.
Um, but then in selecting those kinds of tricks, you are actually saving a seance till the end. So you are creating a mood beforehand, or do you kind of do some things that are lighthearted? Do you have some laughter and applause during the first part, and then you try to make it more serious, or and then how do you? And if you do, how do you have that bright light division between the two?
Yeah. So I would say that it definitely starts on the lighter end of, hey, this is funny and spooky. And then each trick, in my opinion, actually gets a little bit more mysterious. It's like, oh, we're doing this one thing, and then oh, this is actually like with the tarot thing, like, oh, tarot, that's actually like I know what that is. That feels a little bit more real. And then I go into a story about this person, and all the lights get a little bit low. So it feels like a gradual fade. It's not just like, all right, lights off, we're doing a seance. People feel the build up towards something scary at the
Mhm.
at the end of it. So it is built into the tricks, and it is built into the pattern for sure.
Yeah, whenever we had presented our seances, we try to make that as serious as possible because we don't want people to applaud or laugh necessarily. But we do say that this is going to be a representation of an old time type of seance or something that is basically a play, if you will, and not something that is to be taken seriously, but it is just a representation of what they used to be able to do.
Right.
And as so, we try not, I mean, we try intentionally not to add any gag lines or anything during the show that would make people at some point be lighthearted. And before the show, we have a little meet and greet in which I walk around, do some close-up magic, and I quickly realize that I can't be doing like $100 bill change because then people will go upstairs. Oh, well, he was doing magic downstairs. This must be magic and must be trickery also. So I try to do things that are going to be more in line with what the overall tone of the evening would be, is a little bit more serious. It's like instead of doing an invisible deck, I would do something that would have a devil's hank, no, I'm sorry, Glorpy or something with it, as well as like a little skeleton hand or something, so as to make it a little bit more spooky, so it seems more serious.
Oh yeah, that's pretty much all the magic all the way through. It's everything This is straight up a Halloween themed trick. So something spooky is happening in each one. Just the degree of spookiness is it's builds up towards the end. Yeah,
Do you use music in your show?
I do. Yeah, music, light cues, some fog occasionally. Yeah,
Hmm. And do you use any, hate to mention this even, electronics?
I barely like just
Okay.
one prop, but yeah, nothing else.
Okay.
Yeah,
Everything else is pretty much organic.
very organic. Yeah, and that's the way that I've really like I tried a ton of electronics, and I'm like, none of this really gives the oomph that it needs. So
Yeah, there's so many different things that are available out there, and I'm not going to talk about them on this podcast because of the nature of people who are listening that might be non-magicians. But I, I know that some of these things are available, like at Magic Live. In fact, did you go to Magic Live this year? Or when we talked before, you had just gone to one, but have you been to
yeah,
one since then?
no, I haven't. Unfortunately, I was too busy doing the show, actually working on the show, working at restaurants. I couldn't get the time off, unfortunately.
And another thing too, before I forget it, I remember we talked saying that on your 21st birthday, I had suggested you might go to Las Vegas. You said, "Hey, that's a good idea. I'm going to do that." Did you end up going to Vegas on your 21st?
So on my 21st birthday, I was actually doing Future Stars. I turned 21 during that run, but later after that, I ended up going actually. I ended up going and I saw some really cool magic, and I also did some cool like immersive theater stuff.
As I recall, last time you were visiting with Piff and watch his show, and he had you come on stage and did something then too. Did you happen to meet up with him again?
That was so cool. No, I didn't meet up with him. No, no, not this time. Not this time.
Who did you see, or who did you like, or who's big on Vegas Strip right now? That's one of your favorites.
Um, Penn and Teller, I ended up going to see their show. That was really cool. I had never actually seen them before, but I didn't see anyone else. Actually, the whole time I was there, we did all the other really cool stuff, which was uh I'm a really big fan of immersive theater, and they have this place called Omega Mart out there, and they have these like really cool immersive escape rooms. So I spent a lot of time doing that.
There's
I actually
Malwolf.
went.
Malwolf?
Yes, it's that. Yes,
Hmm.
Meow Wolf. So it was that, and we got a chance to see a little bit of magic too.
Hmm. Just a little bit
Yeah,
of magic.
just a little bit, just a little bit of Penn and Teller. That's
So
it.
much to see out there, and so much to do
Yeah,
magic wise that you could spend a long time out there seeing everything. Certainly,
yeah.
it is. So you don't get out to Vegas that much anymore,
I would love to. That'd
but
be
you
great.
don't.
But I just don't really have any reason to necessarily, nor necessarily the the money.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So, well, if you get to Vegas, maybe you can put it all on red and maybe win. So there
that
you
would be
go.
cool.
So one of the things we talked about in the last time we had chatted was you were working on the same lot where they did Young Sheldon, and Ian Armitage was someone you kind of passed in the lot, I guess, from time to time. And I remember him saying that when he was going to grow up, his lifetime dream was to have a show in Las Vegas. Did you ever get the chance to visit with Ian? I mean, or are you just kind of crossing the parking lot?
No, I never did. I visited the Young Sheldon set a couple times. We always like intermingled and saw each other at the commissary or whatnot. But no, I never did. Unfortunately, that would have been really cool.
I just didn't know whether you spoke with him about magic since you both had an interest in that.
Yeah, I don't think that we were always working at the same time. I think they had
Uh-huh.
like the inverse schedule of us. So if they were ever there, it was just like weird times. Yeah, it was odd.
That'd be something, so now that you're a member at the Magic Castle, full member, that you could reach out to him and say, hey, we got a few things in common. Why don't you come out if you're not a member and be my guest or something sometime and kind of chat magic? I think that'd be kind of a fun conversation and a good friend to have.
Yeah, that would be fun. I'd be down for that.
Going back to again to the spook show. What is the name of the title of the show that you're doing?
The Haunted Mystery Show of Magic.
Okay. And you said then it's on Saturday nights, and on Friday you have other variety acts that are not related to that mystery show at all.
Yeah, so on it's every Saturday I'm doing my own show, and then on Fridays we actually move to the big stage area, and it's every other Friday, and there's burlesque and me, and there's also we're deciding on that third act.
Okay. You don't
Yeah.
have a juggler or anybody there?
No, we're thinking about either a hypnotist or a jazz singer.
Yeah,
One of
both
the two.
both be good,
Yeah.
I would think. And your show then lasts what? 45 minutes or 90 minutes? Or
Mine's so in for that one it's 30 because there's other acts going on. But yeah, for my one man show on Saturdays, which is the one I would love for you guys all to come out and see, or Fridays. Fridays is cool too. Yeah, it's just me 45. Just
and you're
45.
doing one show a night then, or two, or
Two. Yeah, so there's one at 7:30 and there's one at 9:30.
9:30? Okay.
Yeah.
And where can they get tickets?
If you want to go get tickets, you go to Ticketmaster and you pop in Michael Campion and the first one that comes up, or you can write out the Haunted Mystery Show of Magic, but that's a little bit long. So yeah, go on Ticketmaster and it's $45 and you get an appetizer with that, and you can purchase drinks and you get the whole 45.
Is it located downtown LA or in one of the burbs, or?
It's in Hollywood. It's right on Hollywood Boulevard, actually.
Okay. So
Yep.
parking is available, I guess, valet or?
There's valet, but right next to there's also a parking structure that's 15.
Okay, so you can save a little bit of money by just parking over there. Then,
Yep, park
yeah.
there or park in the street. You know how it is.
So yeah, I do. So if you are, as you were planning this show and putting it together, it sounds like that you spent a lot of time with, spent 3 hours actually writing it, which is amazing, and been fine tuning it, I'm sure, ever since then.
Well, mind you, that first 3 hours was just, here are the tricks that I want to do. The actual writing it out of like every single beat definitely took months to do, and then they're in the refining. No,
Okay.
I just like the initial concept went on there, and then making that come to life was a far more strenuous process. Like building the set and getting the tricks together, and working that out and seeing how I can actually get people to come in this thing, taking pictures. Just I've realized this is my first show that I've done fully by myself, getting every element up. And it's been a ride. I mean, I didn't realize how much goes into every single element and how much can go wrong. The magic was the easy part. It's the everything else making it come to life was the hard part, in my opinion.
What's been some of the things that went wrong that people should avoid?
Some of the things that went wrong, man. Let me think about that. That's a great question, because for anyone who wants to build out a show, like here's a place that I have. They've given me a residency. What to do? The biggest challenge for me has been getting people to come to the show consistently. And luckily, I have a really great PR guy. His name is Turk. But trying to get people, word of mouth is absolutely the best way. Getting your friends in is the best way. Paying for advertisements is very, very hit or miss. I mean, sometimes people will get to it, but trying to strike that demographic, I'd say get as many of your friends to come in first and then build it out from there. Like if you spend a ton of money on trying to get ads, that sucks. That's really, really hard. And also ask the person if they are trying to promote you at all, because it's all just been me. Try to your best to get yourself up there on that website, and any other means that you can get through, like putting your name on the table tents. That's a really big one. Also, the amount of money that I've spent on extraneous things, like things that went wrong, such as, how do I explain this? Like technical stuff. I had to buy a $700 speaker. I had to buy a microphone. You have to buy things that will last you forever. Because if you end up buying, like, okay, if you end up cheaping out, you will absolutely 100% regret it. I've had 3 separate bits of equipment break on me, and that was not fun at all. That was not fun. Getting things secondhand, also not great. I've realized that you just have to bite the bullet and get your technical equipment and stuff up first. Get really solid magic props that won't break on you.
Pay for quality.
Yes, pay for quality, but not just because you want to have luxury items, but because you're going to keep doing this show and things are going to break, and you don't want that to happen. And I've had, like, one of my envelopes just in the middle of the show broke on me, and I'm like, oh God. So, and I have to glue it again, and yeah, just pay for quality first, and that will save you so much headache. Probably save me about $800.
Wow, good advice.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people would like to try to get started in doing this. We have my business partner, Jamie Salinas, and I have a book out on creating the paranormal experience. And as we start to get closer into the holiday or Halloween season, we have a lot of people who will start to buy this because it talks about a lot of things we talk about here as far as how to build that show, how to not just necessarily the tricks that are in there, but more importantly, how do you get butts in the seat, and how do you find the seat, how do you find the venue, et cetera, like that.
Right.
Which would lead me to another question as far as, did you go around knocking on doors, or did they come to you, or did you have an agent or some third party who found this venue for you?
This was all me knocking on doors, pretty much. I luckily had a lot of contacts from the very first time that I went out on like a 3-month trek trying to find a restaurant. Like, it was every day or every other day trying to, find a place that would give me some type of residency. And I ended up finding one, which was the Black Rabbit Rose. But from there, I pivoted out. I found a lot of restaurants that, potentially wanted it, but didn't really. I marked the ones that like had showrooms, the ones that didn't. And so I reached out to the places that I thought would be the best fit for this. And luckily I had like the owner's contact from all of these, just from that, those 3 months trying to find a restaurant. And I was able to contact them directly. And a couple of them got back to me. 90% didn't. And it was really, and this really sucks to say, I hate saying this, it was luck because the Beetle House was looking to expand. They were looking for new shows, and they were looking for things to do because they just opened up this new section of their restaurant. And it was great timing, but I realized that the only thing that I can do, there's a quote, it goes something like luck is when opportunity meets preparation. And all I can do is just be 100% prepared, have every single one of my ducks in a row. Like, I could go into this venue right now and put on a show right this second. I had nothing out of place because I don't want to be messy like that. And plus, they probably wouldn't have taken me. It's actually funny. I asked the owner later of Beetle House, like, why did you end up doing this? Like, for real? Because you had a lot of other acts that were asking to come in, and he said that you were by far the most professional. You had it the most together. And I had comedy people want to come in. I had other magicians, but you were prepared. And so that was the biggest takeaway, and that was the biggest compliment, is you just have to prepare absolutely as much as you can, and then it's a numbers game. And if you really can't do that, I found that my fallback would have been to put on a show in my own house and market that and say, hey, here's my show, and just put my own content out there so people can see it. So that would have been my fallback option if no one would have gotten back to me.
Do you find that social media is a good way of advertising?
Social media is a good way of advertising, especially if you have a following from magic, or if you know people who have a following from magic. I would say that, as much as I hate to say it, influencers who know the area that you're in, like, there's a lot of LA influencers that the good ones who actually like recommend places and recommend events. Like there's a girl, her name is Spooky Foodie, and she recommends all types of haunted attractions. And so I'm trying to ask her to advertise my place because that's the target audience. I'd say definitely target social media first. Advertisements anywhere else can come second, for sure.
Yeah, because social media is the first free place you should go that might get the widest distribution.
Absolutely, for sure. Get it in front of the most eyes. But then the other problem with that is that there's so many people doing it. It's hard to cut through the noise. And again, you have to be really quality. You have to have something that like jumps out at you. Sure.
You mentioned Beetle House being there in LA. I know there's another one out in New York. This one started in New York and then expanded to LA. Is that correct, or vice versa?
That's right. Yeah, started in New York. It's a much smaller venue out there, but out here they've gone through like 3 iterations of the same restaurant, and now they're at a really big venue, which is awesome. It has one of those like stages that it's like a Coliseum type stage where there are people around you.
Mm-hmm.
It's really cool. So definitely would recommend coming to the LA one to see my show.
And how many people does the theater seat there?
Theater, there's 35 tables. So I think
it's not rake seating. You're actually seated at a table.
Yes, you're seated at a table. I'm not entirely sure, but in the whole restaurant, it's 200. So for the actual seating to see my show, I'm gonna go with 150.
Okay.
150.
So Is this a place, the Beetle House, some place you're not supposed to say 3 times in a row?
Yes, do not say Beetle House 3 times in a row. Bad things will happen.
Is that kind of what it was based on? Was
Yeah,
Beetlejuice?
so Beetle House, it's actually a Tim Burton themed restaurant, and
Right.
Tim Burton has Beetlejuice. But yeah, the Beetlejuice is there as a roaming character, and so is like gosh, who else is there? There's like some of the Batman characters. There's also Willy Wonka is there. Because Tim Burton did like a Willy Wonka variation. Let me think.
Sounds kind of like the Time Machine. I can't remember. There's the restaurant, and I know they've still got one in Dallas, something Time Machine, which they have character actors who are your waiters and waitresses.
Yes, that's precisely what it is. Yep, exactly that.
Okay.
And so every 20 minutes they'll come out and they'll do either like a song, or they'll do stand up, or they'll
Right.
Sometimes even do magic. It's pretty cool.
So is this something that you're going to be doing year round, or is it only going to be during the Halloween season here?
I would love to do it year round. I think that after the Halloween season, this might turn into like a once a month thing, where you can come see my show then, just because it'll be, Christmas time. But since the place is advertised as Halloween every day, I think that would be great. But for right now, it's from right now until November 2nd.
Yeah, that makes sense. And so again, hopefully people will go there and follow the website and go to Ticketmaster to buy tickets.
That's right. Go on Ticketmaster, put in Michael Campion, and get your tickets to come see my haunted mystery show of magic.
Sounds like it's going to be great, and a lot of fun then too. So I'm looking forward to talking with you sometime in the future to see how this went. And beyond that, one of the things, of course, the name of my podcast is called The Magic Word. And so what is your magic word? What is it that's important to you? It's been 6 years since we last talked, and you'd given me your philosophy of life, but what is it that now you have changed and you're an older, more mature adult?
Oh, my magic word. Okay, this is good. Does it have to be one word?
You can make it a phrase if you wish.
A phrase, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, a phrase. Phrase that I would say, I'm gonna go with stay humble. Stay humble, because I did not get anywhere being pretentious or thinking anything was owed to me. I have been humble at every single opportunity. I have been very grateful, and I think that humility and being humble, it's a rare thing out here. So stay humble and be appreciative of every opportunity that you get, and that's it.
That's good. No,
Yeah.
there's a lot of wisdom in what you just said right there. There's a lot of old time wisdom that you've learned in just a few years to have said that. That's great.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
One last thing I just have to say about your going back full circle to your hirsute. You kind of remind me a little bit in profile over there of a young Johnny Depp.
Thank you. Wow, you know what? I'm taking that as a full compliment. Thank you, Scott. I appreciate that.
I mean that.
Thank you.
I hope you wish you every success that he's had and more.
Thank you so much, Scott. This has been great.
So with the Magic Word Podcast, that was Michael Campion. This is Scotty out. I want to thank Michael for being my guest here this week. It was fantastic that he took some time out of his busy schedule in preparing for this show that he's doing there at the Beetle House. And if you get a chance, be sure to go and check that out. We've got a lot of stuff planned for you for the rest of this month as far as other upcoming guests that we will be talking with, having to do with seances and even Harry Houdini as we get closer to Halloween, which will be the anniversary of his death. So be sure to stay tuned and come back from week to week for each episode that we present here during this month of Boo. Thank you very much for joining us. And if you get a chance, please join us on the podcast to learn more by joining our pod letter. If you'll just go to themagicwordpodcast.com, there you can have a little pop-up that will come up and say join our pod letter, and just put your name and email address in there. We will keep you up to date each week with who it is that's on that particular week, who's coming up next week, and also some suggestion from the archives. So until next week, stay well, get booked, and remember to be humble. This is Scotty out.